All right, we are officially recording. We are officially in our broadcast. It looks like there's about 26 people in here, 26 witches in the room. Yes, witches. I'm so excited. Got about 70 people that registered for this webinar, so I am sure that folks are going to be popping in a little bit, but I'm going to get started here so we're not up too late. It is 9:21, which means we are just a few minutes out from the peak of this full blue moon in Pisces. Yes. This was absolutely intentional on my part. I wanted to make sure that we came together specifically during the full moon. This is a very special time for myself, a special time for many witches. One of the things that we like to honor when it comes to the transitions and the changes of the world around us and the universe that we know that we are so deeply connected to. Not all witches take the time to do this, but I definitely encourage it. We're actually going to talk about the Wheel of the Year and connecting to it in this webinar. That is one of the 10 areas that I want you to concentrate on in order to become a better witch. So we will talk about that more in depth in a little bit. But right now, I just want to take a quick moment to honor this very special time. The goddess, represented by the moon, riding at her peak. This is a very special full moon. It is a full blue supermoon. That means that this is a fairly rare experience. We don't often get two full moons in a month. I think it happens every few years or so. We also are being treated to a supermoon, which means if you are able to see the moon from where you are right now, she should be big and full in the sky because during a supermoon, she is very, very close to the earth, closer than normal. And then she's in the sign of Pisces right now, a watery and intuitive sign. So it felt like just the perfect time for us to do this. This is something new for me. This is my first big webinar. I've done some smaller ones before, but 70 folks registering is really big for me. So thank you all for being here. And I just want to take a quick moment, a quick prayer. No pressure to join me. I just want to make sure that I take the time to honor the goddess, to honor all of the forces that we are connected to, give honor to our guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, and spirits. Ask them all to be with us right now so that we understand and absorb this material, that every witch that is in this room feels powerful and protected in their identity as a witch and is ready, truly, truly ready to transform their lives and transform their practice. Because I feel truly ready to lead them, to guide them, and to help them with that. And I'm so grateful that I have been chosen to do this work. I thank everyone for being here. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Welcome, welcome to Becoming a Better Witch in 6 months, my free webinar. Ashe, yes, yes. Okay, now here's the thing I have to learn. Oh, okay, great. So, funny side story. It is also Mercury in reggaeton. Okay, she's out here clapping her chancletas. I don't know if any of you have been experiencing the impact of this Mercury retrograde, but for me, oh man, oh man, it's been a little intense, and the technological snafus have been a little intense. So, why I would decide to try a whole new platform? I've never done StreamYard webinar before. Why I would do something that involves like downloading slides and all kinds of things in the middle of a Mercury retrograde? I don't know. I'm just that type of reckless witch, okay? So, I'm going to let you know in advance. We may have technological snafus. There may be issues along the way. Just send up a little prayer. If anything happens, I will reconnect back into this room, or I will send out an email from the BronxWitch at mynorby.com email address that has been sending you updates and the link to this webinar. Okay, so if there's any issue, don't panic. Just check your inbox. And I will make sure to communicate with everybody about what we will do next. But otherwise, let's rally together in a big virtual hug. Let's send up a prayer that all goes smoothly, okay? So, who am I? This is me. I am Alysha Kravetz, also known on the interwebs as BronxWitch. But really, I am the creator of BronxWitch and BetterWitch, and I am just a little girl from the Bronx, okay? Born and raised in the Bronx, New York. I have had the opportunity to leave the Bronx to go to school in different places, Vermont and DC. I've been blessed enough to travel a little bit outside of the Bronx, but the Bronx is my home. It means so very much to me. There's a little picture in the slide there of the scene from my windows, what it looks like looking out over the rooftops of the Bronx. To some people, she may not be a pretty place, but to me, she is beautiful. And I'm super proud to be from here. In these photos, you'll see my mom. That's mommy over on the, I think it might be your left side, but in the corner there, rocking her BronxWitch merch. That is my mommy, Dolores, okay? I was born in Queens Hospital to people that I may never meet. I was adopted by my mother, and my mom loves to tell the story of what it was like to literally have somebody ring the doorbell and have me sitting there. Now, I wasn't left on the doorstep. That would be really kind of cool, actually. That'd be a really dramatic story. Like, oh my God, I was left on a doorstep and this woman took me in. Not quite what happened. What happened was my mom and my father, who is no longer with us in the physical plane, decided that they wanted to adopt. They wanted to open up their homes to somebody who needed it. So all of those arrangements were made before I was born. And because the arrangements were made, there wasn't any reason for me to stick around anywhere else, I guess. So my mom was kind of horrified when she opened up the door and there was the social worker with like an 8-day-old baby. She was like, she likes to say she thought that they would give me a little bit more time, like, in the oven or whatever. But they literally brought me, fresh out the cooch to her. So that was a little horrifying, such a newborn baby. But what that means for me is that they are all I've ever known. My mom's all I've ever known. My family, my adopted family, is all I've ever known. And that's my sister down at the bottom there, my lovely sister Keisha, the only sister I've ever known. And she's also adopted from a different family. So we are two kids that needed home, and my mom brought us in and gave us a really beautiful, but not always easy childhood growing up in a strict Christian household. My mom being from Charleston, South Carolina, and being Christian her whole life. We were in the church all day long, it feels like. We were in the choir. We were in the YPD. My mom was on the floral club. My aunt was a missionary. Everybody was involved in the church and in the church politic. And so we were constantly in church, and we really didn't get allowed to have friends or do things outside of the church. New York City was a very scary place for my mom, who did not grow up here, but moved here as an adult. And I think she felt like one of the best ways to keep us safe was to keep us in the church, something that for her was very important and a place of safety and peace. And then you'll also see there my besties. Those are my two besties, Gigi and Nia. They have been my besties since I was 12 years old. So we are going on 25 years this year. Both of them have kids now and are getting married or are married and doing all the grown-up things. But to me, they will always be, those two young ladies that you see in the picture there. And this is my world. This is my support system. These are the people that keep me kind of anchored in life right now. Okay. So that's kind of like who I was, right? But who am I now? I'm a big boss witch now. Okay. Somewhere along the lines from the photos that you saw till now, I discovered magic and witchcraft and Wicca, and that has really shaped who I am. Christianity and the church shaped who my mom was and my family, and they tried to use that to shape me too. But what has shaped me is the path that I found for myself. I found tarot. I found spellcrafting. I found meditation and spirituality. And these things now they aren't really things that I do. They are what I am. I am tarot and I am Reiki and I am meditation. I live my life in a state of being that is in touch with these things. And that has been personally transformative to me. But what's been really cool and completely unexpected is that it turns out that I'm here to share those things with others as well, and to have what I know of tarot and Reiki and meditation not just transform and change my life, but to transform and change other people's lives too. Thank you for the compliments on my family, you guys. I appreciate that. I'll have to tell them that you guys are sending love their way. Um, this is me now. The picture where you see me hugging someone is one of the very first events that I ever did tarot readings for the public at. Shout out to Grecia and her Witches and Wine events. And it was very special for me so early on in, I guess what I would call my public persona as a witch, to have that kind of an impact on people, to have people come to me and find whatever in me, whether it be some type of guidance or leadership or just friendship and relatability, just seeing somebody who looks like them, talks like them, maybe doing the things that they want to do. I've begun to accept that I'm a little different, and I've become to accept that it is okay for me to share myself with other people and have them take cues from what I do or what I've been through, because there's a lot of people in this world that seek to impact us, to influence us, and they don't always have the best intentions. I know where my heart is. I know what my calling is. I know why I'm doing this work. And so, why not me? If not me, then who? Right? Hello, Nuri. Oh, shout out to two Janaes in the room. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, so that is me. This is where I am now. So, if you're not familiar with me and you just sort of stumbled into this webinar, then here we are. Yeah, definitely. If you have any issues with the connection or anything like that, blame it on Mercury retrograde. It looks like somebody left the room and came back in and it cleared up for them. So I would recommend giving that a try. So why? Why do I do this? Why am I here? I am here because I have stepped into my purpose, which I think we do a lot of talking about, and it can be a little confusing about like what that even means. Uh, for me, I think that we have many purposes, that our purpose can change quite dramatically sometimes throughout our lifetimes. And right now, my purpose is to be a light in the world. It is to be a source of upliftment and empowerment for the people of my neighborhood, the South Bronx, for the community that I connect with in person and online. And that is not something that I understood before. I think before, like a lot of people, I was just living, just kind of going through the motions of every day and not really necessarily living with an intention in mind. And now that I know that my purpose is to help others step into magic and spirituality, it's to help people, particularly people of color, see themselves reflected in this space, I'm leaning into that fully. And I'm doing that through my shop, BronxWitch HeadQuarters, and I'm doing it through the things that I offer folks individually, like tarot readings and Reiki sessions and webinars and classes like this. And I think ultimately, the reason why I'm here, and certainly the reason why I wanted to embark on this journey of helping witches on their path to becoming better, is because I have learned or fostered a sense of peace and power within myself from magic and spirituality. That's what it has given me. And if there's anything that I would want to give to this world, it is a sense of peace and empowerment. There's a lot of chaos in the world, and I think we carry a lot of that internally, and it shows by the way that we treat ourselves and the way we treat each other. And there's a lot of disenfranchisement and feeling of lack of power. Some of this is internal because we just don't know how powerful we really are. No one has taught us, no one has showed us. And some of it is enforced on us. Many of us are the victims of oppression and intentional disenfranchisement. And so I am here, and BetterWitch is here to bring peace and power to everybody that I touch. Just to give you guys a little overview of what we're going to talk about in the next hour or so, I am going to take you through the 10 critical areas of your craft. Now, certainly there are more than 10 areas of witchcraft, of magic, etc. But for me, these are the 10 most important. I feel like if you pay attention to these 10 areas all together, they really represent what it is that a witch is and what a witch is capable of. For each of these 10 areas, I'm going to give you some action steps because I don't know about you, but I do not like sitting in on webinars or classes, presentations, where we talk about stuff, but then nobody tells me like what to do. What can I actually do? So I made sure that for each of these 10 areas, I have given you some specific action steps for you to take. So what I want you to do right now, if you haven't already, I want you to go and grab a notebook, some paper, or a pen. Okay? I want you to make sure that you have a way to take notes here, okay? Because what I want you to do is I want you, first of all, to write down these 10 areas as I introduce them to you. And then I want you to write down at least one of the action steps. I'm going to give you multiple action steps for each of these areas, but I want you to write down at least one of them that calls to you, or one of them that feels like is doable to you, okay? That you could do today if you wanted to. I just want you to write it down and make sure that you have it. So let's take a moment. If you don't have pen and paper, go ahead and grab yourself some right now. And then I want you to drop an emoji. You can raise your hand, heart emoji. I love that journey. You've got a notebook and a pen. You knew what I was going to say. Look at you forecasting, okay? You knew what I was going to say. Go and get yourself a pen and paper. Make sure you're ready to take notes on this and meet us back here. Drop an emoji down when you have pen and paper and you are ready to go, okay? I don't want to get started without folks being ready to take these notes. I want you to walk away with 10 action steps that you are prepared to take for yourself so that 6 months from now, you do not get up and look at yourself in the mirror and realize that you are the same person that you were today, okay? So let's get some pen and paper. Betty already had it. Good to go. I'm seeing notes and pencils, pens, check marks. Excellent. I'm seeing people say ready. Hello, River. Welcome. Hello, Sandra. I see some folks who've come in the room I didn't get to say hi to. Hi, Vienna. Okay, I got an Ashe from Journey. You are extra ready. Leslie's got pen and paper. Very good, very good. If anybody needs more time, you can drop more time down in there. I will wait for you. Let's make sure that we are ready to take these notes. June is taking notes on their laptop. Wonderful. That is fantastic. To use technology to our benefit. Jeanette's got pen and paper. Excellent. I don't want to get started without anybody. Okay. Right. Yes. Etaf took it to the next level. Got the pen and paper and now has the tea. Okay. Yes. Extra ready. Fabulous. Very good, very good. I'm seeing lots of Evernote is open. Wonderful. Okay, I'm seeing lots of comments and emojis. That's wonderful. Sounds like people are ready. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. Yes, Cynthia. Okay, I love that. Wonderful. Okay, I think one of the most important things that we are going to talk about today is how you are going to actually apply these steps, all right? So I want to make sure that you write down the 10 critical areas of your craft. I want to make sure that you write down at least one action step that you are going to take for yourself from each of the action steps that I'm going to present to you. And then I'm going to give you 2 ways that you could transform yourself and your craft in 6 months with those steps that you wrote down. Okay, and I'm going to give you 2 ways that you can do it for the different types of learners that we have in the building. Some folks are very independent learners and prefer to work that way. Some folks really enjoy having expert guidance and mentorship. We're going to learn how to apply these steps that way, okay? Then I'm going to share with you a special offer. I have a special offer that I have been sharing with folks. If you popped into the live on my YouTube this week or last week, then you might have some idea of what that special offer is. But this special offer is going to be extended to everybody who is tuning in to this webinar. And this special offer is going to expire on Monday. Okay, so this is an offer that is just for you guys. And I want you all to really seriously consider taking advantage of it because I do think it is pretty phenomenal. All right, and then of course, I mean, what's a webinar without a giveaway? You know what I mean? I like to be generous. I am going to be giving away a free coaching module with me. That means you are going to get to spend some one-on-one time with me. And that is going to be totally for free. You're going to get an idea of what a coaching session with me is like. We're going to actually take a look at your craft and choose an area of your craft that you want to work on with me. And you're going to get to meet with me one-on-one, and we're going to do just that. I'm going to tell you what I think you need to work on and how you can improve, how you can become a better witch in that area. And that's going to be completely for free. And I'm going to be giving that away to, I think I've settled on 3. I'm going to give away 3 free coaching sessions to 3 witches today, okay? So don't go anywhere. I'm going to let you know how you can enter into the giveaway about halfway through the presentation. And then you guys will have plenty of time to enter. And then at the end of the presentation, I'm going to select my 3 winners, okay? Yes, does that sound good? Why not, right? So 3 lucky witches are going to get a free one-on-one coaching session. You're going to have a whole hour with me to talk about whatever you would like to talk about in your craft, okay? I'm going to teach you a little bit in that coaching session, but I'm also going to talk to you about your craft. You're going to get a chance to let me know before we even start the session what you want to work on so that I am prepared and I'm ready. And then we're going to spend an hour together on that craft. You can ask as many questions as you'd like. I'm going to give you some points on what I think you need to work on and how you can do that. And I think that that's a really great way for you to also decide if you want to move into the full coaching program. So if this is something you feel like you might want to do, but you're not sure, you're definitely going to want to enter into the giveaway because you might get the opportunity to get kind of a sneak peek of what it's all about. Yay! Shamira said this is so exciting. I'm excited. 3 is a great number, right? You know how I feel about number 3. That's my thing. All right, let's get into it. All right. Self-realization. You guys have your pen and paper? This is number 1. This is the first area of your craft. Self-realization. This is critical. This is something that we could honestly spend just the whole coaching program on without touching the other 9 areas of your craft. You may have heard people say before that a witch is someone who knows themselves. Know thyself. Okay, this is a mantra that you hear repeated all the time in this community. And whenever I hear people say that, like when I was younger, and people would be like, you got to make sure you know who you are. You got to make sure you know yourself. I was always like, what the fuck does that mean? Know yourself. I am myself. How could I possibly not know myself? What are you talking about? Right? As a young person, I was like, what does that even mean? It took me many, many, many years before I started to understand that there was a me that I had never really met. The me that you see right now, the one that calls itself Alysha, that's sitting here in the Bronx, that's in this brown body, this feminine, female presenting body, the one that grew up in the Bronx, that's bossy and a little sarcastic. All of this is not me. All of these things are not me. The real me is an energy. And it is an energy that has always been here and will always be here. This energy just happens to be masquerading as Alysha walking around on this earth. But this energy has masqueraded as other people in other parts of time many, many, many times. And will probably, hopefully not, but probably do it again. That is what I'm talking about when I say the self. Yet we're just getting started. This is the first area of your craft, self-realization. And I'm talking about what is the self. The self is the energy that is contained within you, the energy that is the real you. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your experiences. You're not the clothes you wear or the house that you live in. You are a spirit being, an energy being that is one with all of the energy that makes up everything. The problem is, as we go through life, we get, the way I like to describe it is like this. I heard you, Ahmad. Oh, yo también. The problem is, and the way I like to describe it is when we come into this world, imagine yourself as like, you know, those paper cutouts, like gingerbread man shape cutout, you know, the minute you come out of the womb, and really even before that, people around you start slapping Post-it notes on you. This is a girl. This is a Black person. This is a bossy individual. This is a sister. This is a son. Okay? You start getting these Post-it notes slapped on you. When you're really young, it's your parents, it's your family, it's, you know, society, it's your teachers. As you get older, it's your classmates. Then somewhere along the line, you start getting into the program and now you start slapping Post-it notes on yourself and you start saying things like, I'm lazy, I'm bossy, I'm outspoken, I'm an extrovert. And you start putting all these Post-it notes all over yourself. And the reason why I like to call self-realization self-unveiling is because for me, it's not so much that you need to realize who you are. You always did. It's just that you got so covered in Post-it notes that you couldn't see your real self anymore. All you could see were all of the labels that you and everybody else had put on you. So the process of self-realization for me is a process of unveiling, taking off these sheets of Post-it notes and labels and identities to get down to that blank gingerbread shape, your true self. And why is this important? Because who cares, right? That self can't be seen. So why does it matter? That self is the part of you that is connected to the universe. And that self is the part of you that is able to work magic. Because that self, connected to the universe as it is able to reach out into the universe and pull forward whatever it wants. When we are walking around totally covered in these Post-it notes, we are disconnected from our true self and disconnected from the universe, which means that all of the possibilities that the universe contains are not accessible to us. We can only touch what these Post-it notes allow us to do. Sabrina says, removing the curtain. That's another great way to put it. We're pulling back these layers of what's been put over us to get in touch with our true self and connect with the universe, which holds all possibilities. So that what you want to manifest and what you want to see in your life is readily accessible to you. It already is. You've never lost touch with the universe. Yourself and the universe are one. They have been, they always will be. But you, the physical being, are not able to get in touch with your true self because of all of these layers that have been put on you of these post-it notes. And it's time now, because you did not come to the path of witchcraft by an accident. You came here because you knew that there was a power that you had inside of you. You just don't know how to get there. And this is the first step. And it's the most important step, because you can sit down and light all the candles and cast all the spells and say all the words and humana, 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 abracadabra, cadabra. But if you are not connected to the universe, the source of all the possibilities, you are not going to be able to pull forward what you want. And if your spell, your ritual, your intention actually comes to be, it's going to be purely accident and not something that you can actually do at will. And people accidentally cast magic all the time. But if you're here in this room, you probably have an interest in how to do it at will. And that's what we become capable of when we unveil all of those layers and connect to our true selves. Okay? And so that is how self-realization impacts our magic and the craft. We become capable of spell casting and doing it at will because we no longer are limited by all of those layers. That's a beautiful quote that June has dropped in the chat if you can see it. So action steps, right? Because I said I'm going to be giving you how we do this. What is it that we need to do? These are the action steps for self-realization. 1, meditation. Meditation is incredibly effective. Now, I am a little bit biased as a meditation coach, right? That's kind of like, that's my medicine. So I'm always pushing it on people. But meditation is important and very helpful for self-unveiling, because as we practice getting in touch with ourselves, we basically go through the act of going beneath the post-it notes. Sometimes you can't take them all off, right? Sometimes your identity as a sister or a brother is something that is going to be with you for as long as your sibling exists, and beyond that maybe, right? So if we can't take the post-it note off, perhaps we can kind of ignore them for a little bit and search for what is underneath, even if just for a few minutes every day. Meditation allows us to realize ourselves in the mental and in the emotional. Another action step that you can take, and remember to write these down. You don't have to write all of them down. I want you to write down at least the one that really speaks to you, that you feel like, yes, I can do that. If meditation feels like something you've tried a million times and you just are sick of trying and you want to try something else, that's okay. Try one of the other action steps, like exploring your astrological chart. This is another way that you can get to know yourself. You are connected to the universe. You are a piece of the universe. So what the heck was happening inside of you when you were born? Your astrological chart will tell you. It will tell you exactly where all of the planets are and where all the stars were when you entered into this lifetime, which is not an accident. When you came into this life, you brought with you the energies of all of these astrological bodies and where they were and what they were doing, because they are the universe and you are the universe. So by pulling your astrological chart, which is something you can do very easily for free on websites all over the internet, you are going to be able to realize yourself on a spiritual level. And then your ancestry, learning more about your family tree. This is another thing that you can do. Learning about your family tree and connecting with your ancestors. And listen, you don't have to tell me how complicated, triggering that can be. I am not only an adopted person who has no records of their birth family, I am also African American, as far as I know, which means my adopted family tree cuts off at a certain point, and there's nothing but question marks after that. For some of you, you might know who your ancestors are and not really like them very much. But I encourage you to get over that. and explore your ancestry and your family tree anyway. Because no matter whether you like it or not, your physical self is made up of them. I follow an Indian mystic named Sadhguru quite a bit. I love what he has to say. And he often says, something like, I'm paraphrasing, but he often says, you don't know your great grandfather, but his nose is sitting on your face. And it's very true. You may not know your ancestors. You may be disconnected from them for one reason or another. You may not really like them, but whether you like it or not, you carry them within yourselves. And so if you ignore that, then you are ignoring a part of yourself. Okay. And self-realization is going to be difficult if we ignore parts of ourselves. We want to know ourselves on the mental and the emotional, the spiritual and the physical. And if you take these action steps and explore these areas, then you will be able to understand yourself on these levels and therefore connect with who you truly are and what your true power is. 2, second area of your craft, meditation and connection to self. Now, I touched on meditation as an action step to self-realization, so this might seem a little bit redundant, but it's really important to me to have meditation and connecting to yourself to actually kind of stand alone and on its own, because there's the act of realizing yourself, but then we have to connect with that part of ourselves, okay? And meditation allows us to do that, to actually spend time in a consciousness that is rooted in our true self, to turn off the voices of the fluttering post-it notes and actually touch in with yourself. Thank you for sharing that, Armali. I'm so glad that you are having that type of connection to this. Thank you for being here. For me, when I teach my meditation classes, I always tell people that the purpose of meditation for me is 2 things: mental clarity and emotional calm. When our emotions are calm and our minds are clear, it's like shutting up the flutters of the post-it notes, right? Imagine the wind blowing and all those post-it notes that you're covered with constantly just being like, I'm a sister, I'm bossy, I'm poor, I'm this, I'm that. And when we meditate, it's like the fan turns off, all that fluttering quiets, and now we can actually start to connect with who we really are. Why this is helpful as a person, I go into depth in my meditation classes, which are on the HQ online portal. So I encourage you to take those classes if you feel so called. And I go deep into that. But I think you can kind of, in some ways, really already see how, as a person, mental clarity and emotional calm would incredibly benefit you. But as a witch, this is super important because, like I said, in order to cast successfully and consistently, we need to recognize that we are a part of the universe and we are connected to the universe and all of its possibilities. And when those post-it notes are making all of that noise, we lose connection, which is going to make it difficult for us to reach out into the universe and pull forward what we want. So as a witch, this is really critical because if you are going to do witchy things like connect with the energy of a plant, heal somebody, or cast a spell, the connection to the universe needs to be established, it needs to be strong. And meditation and connecting to yourself through meditation helps with that. So some of the action steps around connecting with yourself is developing a sadhana. The word sadhana just means spiritual practice, a daily practice. It is something that you commit yourself to. Many of the sadhanas that we do are daily. But when I talk about a sadhana in particular, I'm talking about a set of time that you set aside for yourself to commit to a particular practice with an intention. And again, not to be plugging all my classes, but I mean, hey, they're there. I also have a class on the portal called the 7-Day Sadhana Challenge. If Nuri's still in the building, I know Nuri's taken that class and really enjoyed it. And what I encourage people to do in that class is to set aside a specific amount of time. So you're not overwhelmed. It doesn't feel like you have to change your life forever. But just for a certain period of time, can you do the same thing every day? So I encourage you in this class, it's the 7-Day Sadhana Challenge, because we spend 7 days doing breath work, meditation, and mindfulness techniques in order to give a jump start to perhaps a longer sadhana that you might want to give yourself. But when you give yourself a daily practice with intention and you stick to it for a set amount of time, this is one of the most effective ways I have found to connect with yourself, to quiet all of those fluttering post-it notes and start to really feel who you are and your true self. Another way to connect with yourself is to be in nature. I love connecting with myself by being in nature. If you are out in nature, if you have that privilege, we don't always have that access. If you have the ability to go somewhere and lay down in the grass or sit with your back up against a tree, it is an incredible experience. After sitting there for a while, what will happen is you will begin to feel your body start to dissolve. Is the best way I can put it. You'll start to feel your breath going in and out of your body, and you'll start to realize that you are just exchanging energy with everything around you. And that this physical body, in a lot of ways, is an illusion. It's not nearly as material as we imagine. Okay? Shamira asked us to go back to the previous slide. I'll pop back really quickly. I won't be able to do that very much because I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know folks want to enjoy this full moon, but I'll pop back for you. And remember, you guys will all have access to the replay of this webinar. So you'll be able to watch it over and over if you'd like. Okay? So keep that in mind. If you miss anything, the replay will be sent to you after this. And next we have solitude and silence. Being alone is a really great way to connect with yourself. Okay? If you've ever been in the house for like a long stretch of time, like 2-3 days without like talking to anybody, it's kind of a freaky experience. But you really start to get to know who you are. Other people have a huge influence on us. Okay? A huge influence on us. Even if they're saying nothing, right? Have you ever just been sitting next to somebody in a quiet space, maybe a cafe or a bookstore or something like that? That person doesn't have to say a single word to you. But everything you do, you are going to do with the recognition and realization that there's another person there, right? You're not going to let out that fart, okay? Right? You're going to be embarrassed if you trip. You know what I'm saying, right? If you drop your book all of a sudden, if your phone starts ringing, right? And that person doesn't have to say a single word. They don't have to say, I'm judging you. They don't have to give a damn about you. Just being there is going to make it hard for you to be truly connected to yourself. So being alone is really helpful to connecting to yourself, giving yourself long stretches of time where you are alone and where it is silent. And I emphasize the silence because in this day and age, we have a lot of external stimuli. Social media is probably the biggest one, but we've got cable TVs and, all of these things, music even, that are going to impact how you see yourself. Okay. And that is going to take you away from just being and connecting with what that being really is. Okay. And then we have inner child and shadow work. Okay, these are two different aspects that you can do to explore yourself and connect with yourself on a deeper level. In the coaching program that I offer, we're going to go really deep into this, and we're going to have some fleshed out exercises to help you both connect with your inner child who is dealing with trauma, because we all are, and our shadow, which is the parts of ourselves that people and maybe even ourselves have made us feel are quote unquote bad or wrong. The parts of ourselves that we often don't want to admit exist. Just like the funky ancestors that we don't really want to get to know, if we ignore these parts of ourselves, we cannot say that we know ourselves. And if we don't know ourselves, then we can't connect to ourselves. And if we can't connect to ourselves, we can't connect to what? The universe and all the possibilities that it holds. So these are some action steps that you can consider. Again, you don't have to write them all down. I want you to choose one that really speaks to you. Now let's talk about dancing with pagan celebrations, okay? This is connecting with the wheel of the year. This is the third area of your craft that I want you to be committed to and pay attention to and better yourself in. When it comes to the Wheel of the Year, which many of you have probably already been familiar with in some, pagan book here or there, it allows us to orient within the universe. Because the pagan Wheel of the Year, unlike a lot of the calendars that might dictate our lives, this Wheel of the Year is firmly rooted in the transits of the two most important astrological bodies for us as human beings on the earth. That's the sun and the moon. What the sun is doing, what the moon is doing, and in general, what the universe is doing is going to matter because you are a part of the universe. And so what's happening in the universe is happening in you. For those of you who are feeling particularly emotional today, that might be because we're sitting in the middle of a full moon in Pisces, the watery and emotional sign of Pisces. For those of you like Journey who knew what I was going to say before I said it, maybe have been feeling heightened intuition the last couple of days, sensing things that you have no real reason of knowing, that may be because the moon is in a very intuitive place right now. And what's happening in the universe is happening in you, as above, so below. So rooting yourself in the Wheel of the Year keeps you connected with what's going on inside of you. I bet you have, Betty. I'm not surprised to hear that. So the ebbs and flow of the universe are happening inside of us. The other thing that's really awesome about the Wheel of the Year is that it is rooted in the patterns of nature, right? Because our natural environment is impacted most directly by the moon and the sun. Our seasons and what happens here are impacted most directly by the moon and the sun. So, what the moon and the sun are doing in the universe has a direct impact on what is happening here in the natural world. And you are connected to both of those things, so it has an impact on what is happening within you. One of the most ridiculous things I ever hear people talk about is SAD, seasonal affect disorder. You may have heard of this. It became really popular like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. All of a sudden, everybody was sad, right? And Western medicine has had the nerve to try to slap some type of a diagnosis on people because in the wintertime, they just want to lay in bed and hibernate. Are you serious? You really want to give people medication because their bodies are actually responding to the universe and nature because they are one with the universe and nature? Okay. All right. Sounds to me the sick ones are the rest of us who are working 9 to 5, pushing ourselves 40 hours a week in the middle of the winter when even the trees are taking time off and resting, right? So, rooting yourself in the Wheel of the Year is going to transform your craft because it's going to transform you. You're going to understand yourself better and you are going to learn how to go with the flow of nature and the flow of the universe rather than fighting with it. And if you have to fight with it because it's a capitalist society and you have to do dumb things like work in the wintertime, knowing that you are doing something that is unnatural is going to help you to cope with it much better than not realizing that and having somebody give you, God forbid, medication because you're sad in the wintertime. Okay? Action steps for how we can improve our craft through the Wheel of the Year. First of all, we can get ourselves an astrological calendar or some type of an almanac. This is necessary because most of the calendars that we have access to, your Google Calendar, the calendar you got for free from the pharmacy, these calendars are based on a very made up, man made creation of time that benefits some people. So it is not likely to have information about what's happening in nature and what is happening in the universe. And that is the calendar that you are going to want to root yourself in. And obviously, like I said, you got to follow the current calendar if you have to survive this human life. But knowing what is happening in the universe and what is happening in nature is going to be a great way for you to transform the parts of your craft that are connected to the Wheel of the Year. Another way that you can do that is with a personal planner. So you can get either a spiritual planner, a witchy planner that includes astrological transits and almanac information in it. Those do exist. Or You can use your own personal planner and add into it things like the moon phases and the changing of the seasons and when the sun is moving from one sign to the next, etc. So you can do it yourself or you can buy something kind of ready-made. You can attend festivals and fairs and celebrations that are oriented around the wheel of the year. There may be some solstice and some equinox festivals near you that you can participate in and make it a consistent part of how you live your life to go to these events and festivals so that you begin to get into the rotation of nature and of the universe. And then you can hold personal celebrations. Like this picture here, you can cook a meal made with seasonal ingredients. Damn, that rice looks good as fuck, right? I know it's rice pilaf with rosemary. And this is a fall dish, right? Because we're in the fall. So you can hold your own celebrations. They don't have to be ornate. You can do something as simple as preparing a meal with seasonal ingredients. Okay, you can have a small ritual for yourself or some friends and family to mark these transits of the year. And by doing that consistently, you will begin to transform this area of your craft into something that is better, right? We're going from maybe baby witch to better witch. And by actually incorporating these markers throughout the year into your own life, you are connecting to the astrological bodies and the universe that make them happen. Okay. Yes, starting your own planner. Love that. Next, we have divination and the mystic arts. This is really important. I mean, they're all important, right? But divination and the mystic arts for me is really important, obviously, as a tarot reader. So I feel particularly inclined to want to focus on this area of my craft because I enjoy it, but I also feel like I am, at least a part of my purpose involves doing it for others and for myself, of course. But divination is the art and practice of connecting to the messages from the unseen realms for guidance and clarity. We can do it with many different tools. Tarot is certainly not the only one, though it's enjoying a spike in popularity these days. But there are many ways in which you can divine. And what it allows you to do is to connect to the messages that are in this universe that we are talking about for guidance and for clarity. What divination is not is seeing the future. Yes, Hogwarts. Divination is not seeing the future, okay? And I'm going to tell you this might be an unpopular opinion among other witches. You will hear witches and you will hear diviners talk about, come to me, I'll tell you about your future. Let's see what the future holds for you. If you've ever gotten a reading from me, you know that I do not use that type of language. And if you ask me to tell you your future, I'm going to elaborate on why that's not going to happen. But the long and short of it is the future does not exist. That's why I can't tell you. That's why divination is not about seeing the future. Divination is rooted in reality, what's happening right now, in the present, in the energy that is happening at this moment, and what has already taken place, what might be lingering. But the future hasn't been written yet. And so for me, divination is not a way to access that because there is no way to access that. The only way for you to access the future is by creating it with everything that you do right now. But what it is connecting to the energy of every action ever taken to see beyond the physical. The way I describe it to folks is the way Spirit has me see it when I'm doing a reading is it's like a big room that's the size of the universe. And it's dark, but it's covered with all of these silvery strings that look like spider webs. This is my mouse that I'm using right now. I touch this mouse every day. And when I touch this mouse, I leave behind one of these spider webs. So that even if this mouse is over here and I go to another room, there's an energetic connection between me and this mouse. And what divination allows me to do is, even from over here, is to pull on these spider webs to see what's at the other end, or to hear, like a game of telephone, what's on the other side. This is something that everyone can do. We all have access to it. But one thing that you may have asked yourself, if you've ever tried to do a tarot reading for yourself or any type of divination reading for yourself, or if you've gotten one from somebody else, is where the hell do these messages come from? That was a big question for me, right? Because I started tarot like most people do. I got a deck, I got a book, I got my journal, and I started trying to memorize the meanings in the book and do little readings for myself. And as I got more and more comfortable and my intuition started to take over a little bit, I needed the book a lot less and was able to kind of go with what I felt was being communicated to me with every card pull. And then once I got past that part, then I was like, okay, so when I am pulling cards, there are messages that are being delivered to me either in my body, in my mind, or through the card itself. Who the fuck am I talking to? Who am I talking to anyway? Right? And I can totally understand why folks who are a part of, let's say, religious groups that shun things like tarot reading or divination, I can understand why it weirds them out. I can understand why they're afraid that there might be demons on the other side, because what the heck? How was I able to know this? Where did this message come from? When you don't know, it's kind of creepy. Okay? But if you spend time with the practice, you start to pick up on what's on the other side. Okay? And this is how you find out what's on the other side. First action step when it comes to divination is to learn about the Akashic records and the other sources of divine messages. So this is going to take a little research on your part. You're going to want to look up what the Akashic records are. You're going to want to look up what spirit messages are and explore more about how people describe it. What is it? Where is it that diviners believe their messages are coming from? If you are a part of a particular tradition or you're interested in a particular tradition, what does that tradition say about where divination messages come from? Another thing that you can do is to learn about your own spiritual court. And I use this terminology that I've borrowed from practitioners that I know of, Santeria and Lukumi. You might think of this with a different terminology. But your spiritual court is basically the collection of unseen beings that are with you at all times. So this is not the deity or the folk spirit that you call on when you want to honor them or learn more about them. These are the spirits that came with you into this existence and said, we are a part of your team. And you have a whole flock of them, from angels to ancestors to spirit guides, demons, all types of unseen beings are here to walk this life with you. You can learn about them. You can do that in a lot of different ways. For some people, it might be through some type of a spiritual ceremony where you sit with a priest or high priestess and they can tell you more about it. You might do this on your own. Some folks find that taking things like psilocybin mushrooms and going on indigenous medicine journeys, plant medicine journeys, is a great way to actually meet those beings and be able to see them with your physical self in a way that you can't otherwise. Okay? So learning about your spiritual core is going to be helpful. Learning about your ancestry can help with this as well, because oftentimes those beings will walk with entire bloodlines. So if you had a grandmother that used to read playing cards and she talked about her gypsy spirit, that gypsy spirit is most likely with you too. So learning about your spiritual court is a great way to understand where the messages you get in divination are coming from. I encourage you to explore different tools that resonate with you. You might feel really drawn to tarot, but try some other ones. Try a pendulum. Try some playing cards. See what it feels like to gather some stones and sticks by the beach and lay them out in front of you to see if they tell you something. Try bibliomancy. Grab a book, ask a question, and flip through it. See if the message resonates. Don't necessarily limit yourself to the forms of divination that are really popular right now. Okay. Tab asks, what if I can't find info like that about my family? That's a great question. And that is something we are definitely going to explore in the full coaching program. Unfortunately, we don't really have the time here today, or we'll be here all day. But as you can imagine, as an adopted person and as an African American, finding out information about your family is something that I have done the hard way, had to do the hard way. So I have a lot that I can share with you on that. Okay, so I encourage you to consider to spend time with me and definitely enter into the giveaway, because we can explore that in your coaching session if you win one. Thank you for that question. And then finally, practice. This is another important action step. No matter what it is that you are doing, whether you are learning about Akashic records, whether you are learning about your spiritual court, whether you are practicing a particular form of divination, doing it over and over and over is going to help immensely. Not only with just developing a personal practice, but helping to establish that relationship so that you understand where these messages are coming from, and you can begin to really feel confident and rely on them. Many of us who have tried tarot flip over a card, it tells us one thing, and we're like, am I sure? The only reason why you aren't sure is because you haven't done it enough times to see it be accurate over and over and over. So practice is going to be key. Sacred sanctuaries. This is our next area of concentration. Okay. Creating sacred spaces, specifically altars. What is the big deal, right? Witches are always talking about altars. My gosh. If you don't keep an altar, you're probably like so over it. Why are witches always talking about this altar situation? What is the big deal? On a very practical level, an altar is a place to connect with the spirits that we just talked about, your spiritual court. They're a place to communicate with those spirits, and they're a place to just get work done, whatever your work is. If your work is meditation, if it's prayer, if you are trying spellcasting, if you are doing divination, it's just a place to do it, right? You want to pull your tarot cards, maybe you don't want to do it on the dining room table that still has sticky maple syrup from breakfast on it, right? Maybe you want to have a nice, clean, special place for you to do these activities that feel special and that feel sacred, because they are. And you want somewhere that reflects that. So on a practical level, an altar is just a space to do special stuff. But more spiritually and seriously, an altar is a portal to the unseen. It is a space that, when used regularly, becomes a doorway between this physical world and the unseen world. And whether you want to step through that doorway because you want to seek advice from your elevated ancestors, you want to connect with and petition a spirit or a deity even, or you just want to receive messages from the ether, from out there, so that you can make better choices in your life. Being able to go to that portal and open the door at will is hugely transformative in your life. And an altar becomes a portal when we establish that regular connection. So yes, it's a place to just work, a special spot to do special things, but it also becomes a doorway to the unseen, where really powerful messages and actions can be taken. How do we create an altar? What are the action steps to that? First thing that you can do is just to practice creating sacred space. All right. So an altar, yes, is typically a physical thing. It usually has, a table or a tree stump. My first altar, when I was 14, 15 years old, hiding my practice from my Christian mother, who was very much opposed, was a sarong that I had gotten as a gift, like on vacation. It was a sarong. And the tools were things I had stolen from my mom from around the house. Candlesticks that I knew she wasn't going to be using, and golden glassware that was like for dinner parties and stuff that I would steal for my own use. I basically had a sarong, filled it with stuff, and I would tie it up and I would hide it under the bed. You know how like in the old school cartoons, when somebody would run away from home, they'd have a stick with just like a tied bandana with all their stuff inside. That literally was what I was doing. I was like, if I ever run away from home, I'm just going to grab my bundle and just run out of here. Journey had a shoebox, right? So your altar does not have to look like anybody else's at all. The more important thing to do, even before you start to set up an altar, is to practice creating sacred space. How do I make a regular space, like a sarong or a shoebox or this beat up table that I found at a thrift store, a portal to the unseen? The first step is making it sacred space, consecrating and sanctifying that space, whatever that space is. And obviously, in the coaching program, I'm going to teach you how we consecrate and make sacred space. But for you, write that down if you feel called as an action step, something for you to practice, because you can certainly look it up or find in books ways to create sacred space. The next thing that you can do is to create an actual altar. And I recommend that you start with creating an altar to yourself. I know that a lot of people will say create an ancestor altar first. And again, another potentially unpopular witchy opinion. I don't mean to disagree with the wise witches that have often said to me that I should start with an ancestral altar. But like I said before, the question of ancestry can be very triggering. It can be traumatic. It can be very complicated. And we don't need to be doing anything that's going to hinder our progress, because we're trying to do this in 6 months, right? In 6 months, we are transforming ourselves and we're transforming our craft. And if putting up an altar to your ancestors is going to cause you stress and confusion for the next 6 months, rather than pushing you right along, then I don't want you to do that personally. I don't recommend that. Instead, I say start with creating an altar to yourself. It can be a bookshelf like Felicia and June are talking about. It can be an Altoids tin. It can be tiny. It can be in your wallet. But create a sacred space that is dedicated to yourself. And not the self that's all the post-it notes, but the true self that you are getting to know. And as you get to know yourself, add items and things to this altar that represent what your true self is all about. Right? And then creating an altar to your ancestors or deity is another action step that you can take. But like I said, I recommend that you only take it if you feel like you are ready for it and it's going to push your craft along rather than confuse you or hold you back. Ahmad said the punchline, the gag is an altar to yourself is an altar to your ancestors. Someone is connecting the dots. Very, very true. All right. So remember, you don't have to write down all these action steps. You don't have to do all these action steps. I want you to jot down one, maybe two of them that speak to you that you really want to focus in on for this area, which is creating sacred spaces and setting up altars. Now, let's talk about the giveaway. And in Mercury retrograde fashion, I don't know if you guys can see those words or if my picture is over the words as it is on my sign. I don't know. Okay. But I want to take a moment. We have gotten halfway through. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Hopefully this is really informative and educational so far, because we're definitely going to, be pushing it, maybe run over time a little bit. We got started a little bit late. And I don't want to rush this, okay? I do want to get through everything, but I don't want to rush too much. So thank you for bearing with me. If anybody does have to leave, if it does get too late, you are going to be given this replay. It's going to be accessible at the same link that you used to watch this. So the same email that you got that told you about the link, you can click on that link later and come back and watch this, okay? So feel free to peace out if you have to. But I want to take a break right now before I get into the next 5 areas of concentration. And I want to encourage you all to join in the giveaway. Really, really easy to enter into the giveaway. Again, I am going to be giving away to 3 very, very lucky witches a full 1-hour one-on-one coaching session with me where we will address any area of the craft that you would like me to help you with. You are going to be able to tell me before our session what that area is so that I can prepare some notes for you, prepare some perhaps reading materials or recommendations and references. And then we're going to spend a bulk of the time answering your questions and exploring that area for you. Okay, and I'm going to give that away to 3 witches. So to enter, what I want you to do is to drop your name, okay, first name and last initial, because we do have some repeated names in the room. I know we have 2 Janaes spelled exactly the same way. So do drop your name and your first initial of your last name and how long you have been practicing. Okay, so if I was entering the giveaway, I would say Allie K, 25 years. All right. We've got Jeanette S, 2 years. Shamira D, her whole life. Okay, but most seriously, 2 years ago. Tab A, all your life, but recently in the last year. Laurenberg H, 5 years. Linda A, 5 years. June D, 10 years. Beautiful. Shamira said 2 years. Gotcha. Alton J, 6 months. Erica M, 6 months. Gada Etaf M, 5 years, but really since childhood. Regina G, 3 years. Felicia H, 20 years. Armali R, my whole life, but 3 years for real, for real. I feel you. Sabrina B, 39 years. Yes. Janae S, 3 years. Cynthia B, 15 years. Nuri A, 2 years. Shanice L, 4 years. Wonderful. Cynthia B, 15 years. I love the diversity in this room. Okay? All different backgrounds here. This is fantastic. This is really great to know that so many witches with different levels of exposure to the craft want to better themselves. And that was one of my goals with both this webinar and with my full coaching program, that it doesn't matter where you're starting or how long you have already been doing these practices. We can all get better. And I feel like 6 months, if you've dedicated 39 years of your life to practice, what's another 6 months to get better, right? What's another 6 months to level up? So I wanted to make it accessible to everybody. And so I think that it's a testament to the success of that there are so many different levels of expertise. Yes, June, respect to the elders in the practice, those of you who have been doing it even longer than me. Much respect to you. Thank you for all that you share with us. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to let you guys keep entering in. Monica M, since childhood, but really the last 3 years. Beautiful. So continue to enter, continue to enter. When we get to the part where I have to choose a winner, I'm going to scroll back up through the chat. I'm going to look at all of these and I'm going to pick 3 people. I'm going to let Spirit just guide me along the way to pick 3 witches to get a free coaching session with me, okay? Let's give a little stretch. Anybody need to refill their tea? Run to the Little Witch's room. Whew, now's the time to do it. Give everybody 60 to 120 seconds to decompress. Those of you who are hand writing your notes, shake your wrist out a little bit. We don't do a lot of hand writing these days, most of us. Shake it out. Yep, hydrate. Get your high tea mug, fill it up, right? So take that tinkle that you've been thinking about for the last 20 minutes. Try not to do anything else because we won't wait that long. Okay. Yes, the Little Witch's room. No judgment here. Take a visit. Oh, that's right. Get your snacks. Okay, because we've got 5 more areas of concentration to cover. So in reality, we're really just about halfway through. We really got started at about 9:30 because I was waiting for people to come in the room, making sure everybody was okay, getting our tech all set up. So we've been going for about an hour. We probably have another, I want to say 30, 45 minutes to go. Like I said, I don't want to rush it. If you have to peace out, I'd rather you go ahead, get your rest, do what you need to do, and come back. You can use the very same link that you were emailed to access the webinar to come back and watch the replay. So you already have the replay link. If you're like, where do I get the replay? You already have it. So no pressure. This information will be here waiting for you. Who sleeps on the full moon anyway, though, right? I know. I actually, one of the reasons why I previously, not currently, but previously would smoke cannabis on the full moon is because it was one of the most effective ways to make sure that I slept. Because when it is a full moon, let me tell you, I am wired. I will be up all night for no reason. It's a great time to cast spells and do things like that since you're already up. So I'm glad that this energy is helping us stay up. I knew there was a reason I should line it up with the full moon. I'm glad I listened to that voice. No, I know. Isn't it weird? Oh my gosh. Sometimes it's frustrating though, because sometimes I do be tired, and sometimes I have to get up really early to do stuff because the world doesn't necessarily operate on full moon witch time, right? So people want to have meetings with me at 8 in the morning and shit like that. And it'll be a struggle. It'll be a struggle. But I'll be telling myself 5, 6 o'clock, come on, get this done. Come on, go do it. Go get it done. And I'll just be like, and then all of a sudden at 10 o'clock, when I should be going to bed, now I have the energy to start working on stuff. It's ridiculous. That's funny, Tab. That's funny. Yeah, the blue moon is not actually blue, I don't think. I'm trying to remember why they call it the blue moon. I'm not sure. I know the phrase once in a blue moon became popular because blue moons are infrequent. They're not rare or anything like that, but they happen like every few years. So that's where we get once in a blue moon. But I'm not really sure why it was called the blue moon in the first place. A lot of the names of moons, like the sturgeon moon or the strawberry moon, come from different American indigenous tribes and groups and the names that they used. You canceled plans for this webinar? Oh my gosh, thank you. That's right. It's only 7:38 over on the West Coast, so it's quite a bit earlier for some of us. Yeah, it's a little late for us East Coasters, but that's all right. We got the moon to help us power through. Thank you. Shout out to you, Armali. Yes, I love the commitment. Which is first? I don't want to pass any judgment on whoever you had plans for, but they were not going to give you this, I don't think. Okay? They were not going to give you the tools to transform your life in 6 months. I don't think. I don't know who your friends are. I don't want to judge. I'm just kind of going on a limb here. Okay. Yes, the blue moon is the second full moon in the month. I just don't know why it got given the term blue moon. It could have been called the second moon. It could have, you know what I mean? So I just don't know why it was given the blue moon. Yeah. Right? I know. Listen, it's not you. My friends couldn't do this for me either. God bless them. You met them in the first slide, Gigi and Nia. I love them very much. But I don't think they could give me 10 tips to transform my life in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? I know. It being a blue Pisces moon feels so perfect. All right. Is everybody back? Everybody got their stretch on? Everybody took their tinkle, got their tea? Here we go. Next 5 areas of concentration. Elemental alchemy. Okay, connecting with the elements. Alchemy is the art of turning one thing into another. It is about the transmutation of energy. The first time that you heard the word alchemy or alchemist, you were probably hearing about old farts in Europe trying to turn things like iron and lead into gold, with the idea in mind that if everything is energy, as it is, and it's more energy than matter, which it is, and energy can be transformed, which it can be, then could we take the energy of lead and transform it into the energy of gold? We're still trying to do that, but the idea here, can I turn my ex into a frog? I love that. I saw a skit on Instagram where somebody was going into a botanica, and the woman in the botanica was like, yeah, she was going to turn you into a deer. And he was like, a deer? And she was like, a koala, actually, but deer. Can you turn your ex into a frog? I actually think that's the title of a witchy book that I read when I was like a preteen. It's like turning your ex into a frog and other useful spells. I don't know if they're going to wake up in the actual physical body of a frog, though I cannot sit here and say that it can't be done. But we are going to talk about universal law and define the laws of physics and what can be done versus what cannot be done. And while it may violate the laws of the universe and the laws of nature for a human being to become a frog, it does not violate any law to change someone's energy or the energy around them. And so you might bring some frog like shit into their lives or compel them to behave like a frog and maybe hop the hell away from you. Okay? So that's a yes and a no. Now, in order to connect with the elements, you need to be able to sense energy and connect with energy first. Okay? And that is why we started out with connecting to self. You are energy. So connecting to yourself is a great way to practice connecting to energy in general. When you get good at connecting with the energy that is you, then you start to get really good at connecting with the energy around you. You start to get better at doing things like walking into a room and feeling the shift between maybe this room and the next. You might be able to sense that something happened in this room that didn't happen in the other room. Like maybe there was a fight or recently a joyous celebration or somebody just cleaned or cleansed the space. You don't smell anything, you don't see anything, but you can sense it because you're learning how to pick up on energy. Many of you are always doing this. It can be done. We are already doing this. Many of you who are drawn to witchcraft already are particularly sensitive to energy already. What you may not necessarily be really good at is being able to identify what those energies are, and then most importantly, what to do with it, how to transmute it, how to take it and shift it into what we want it to be. We know that energy cannot be created. We know that it cannot be destroyed, but we do know that it can be transformed. It can be harnessed and collected, like in the case of, let's say, electric energy. It can be shifted, like what we do with Reiki. So energy can be manipulated, but first we must be able to identify it in the first place because you can't see it. So you've got to be able to pick up on it in another way. In this particular area of our craft, we are focusing in on elemental energy. And the reason why I like to focus in on elemental energy is one, because it's accessible to all of us. Not all of us are particularly sensitive to the energy of the departed, the dead, right? If you're a medium, you pick up on the energy of the dead immediately. In fact, it comes looking for you. The rest of us, not so much. But when it comes to elemental energy, all of us are connected to it because we are all a part of this natural world and the elements are a part of this natural world. So it's accessible to all of us. It's also a great thing to connect to because it is everywhere, including within us. You carry within you all of the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. So by being able to connect with the elements, you connect with yourself. And it's really easy to do because you don't have to go get it in order to connect with it. You can connect with the element of air in your body by breathing in and out. Yes, you could go to the river or to the ocean to connect with water, but you can also just sit in silence because you are like 60, 70% water. You can sit and have a good cry because your tears are mostly water. You can build up your energy and start to sweat because your sweat is water. You can connect to the energies of the elements without going anywhere or doing anything, just by being. You are already in connection with these things. And so this is a great, easy, cheap, free even way for you to learn how to identify energy, sense it, and move it to where you want it to be. And the only thing you need is your body and consciousness. So how do we do that? How do we connect with elements in a specific way? Our action steps here. 1, elemental connecting meditation. So since at this point you will have already perhaps explored meditation, if meditation is something that works well for you, then you can apply that to the elements and meditate on each of the elements to get a better understanding of what they feel like. You can explore your birth chart. We talked about your birth chart as a way of getting to know yourself and self-realization. One of the things you will notice when you pull your birth chart is that the different planets and the signs that they are in also resonate with different elements: earth, air, fire, or water. So knowing what of those elements are in your birth chart, maybe you have a lot of water, maybe you have very little fire. Knowing that is going to help you to connect with these elements within yourself. If you know that you don't have any earth in your chart, it might feel very difficult for you to ground yourself, for example. And you might need to do things outside of yourself in order to bring that in because you don't have a lot of that energy within you. Your birth chart will help you to see that. Another way that you can connect with the elements is to observe the elements in nature. Simply by going outside and seeing how these elements function is a great way of getting to know them and understanding them. How does water move when it comes up against a barrier? Does it stop? Does it part and go around? Does it go over? When you have a problem in your life and you're thinking about calling on the energy of an element to help you with that, that might come in handy. When water interacts with a boulder, it tends to split and go around. Maybe you have a challenge in your life that you know you're not going to be able to get rid of, but you want to figure out a way to get around it. Connecting with the element of water might be a great way to help you do that because water naturally does that. But if you don't observe water in its natural element, you might not realize that water is capable of that. So observing the elements in nature is a great way to connect with the elements. Next, area 6, universal magic. Okay, universal magic. In this, we are going to talk about spell casting. And you'll notice that I don't really even mention spell casting in this slide. Because for me, it is far more important to talk about why spells work, why magic works in the first place, than it is to bore you with a whole bunch of spells. You guys have already bought all the books. If you took all the books that you have on magic and witchcraft right now, you probably have 500 spells. How many have you done? How many of them have had results for you? And how many of them do you understand in terms of why they would or would not work in the first place? How do you look at a spell in a book and immediately realize that it was written by somebody who doesn't really understand how spells work? Well, you do that. Thank you, Ahmad. You do that by learning the universal laws. These are the laws that apply to not you, not me, not this country, to the universe. These are detailed in the Kabbalion. If you're not familiar with the Kabbalion, it is a very short work. I have a copy of it over there. I want to show it to you because it's the copy you're going to get in your kit if you take the coaching class, but I just can't do it. I'm not going over there. So just believe me when I tell you it's a small book. Okay? You can look it up on Amazon. It's very thin. It'll take you 20 minutes to read through it, maybe an hour. All right? It's not complicated, and in some ways it is complicated, but it's very short. And in the Kabbalion, there are 7 universal laws that are introduced: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. And like I said, this is one of those things that we would be here forever for. When you're in the coaching program, we will spend a whole 2 hours together diving deep into each of these 7 universal laws. But if you understand these universal laws, I promise you, every spell you've ever seen will suddenly make all the sense in the world. And more importantly, spell casting will make all the sense in the world. You will understand why we witches walk around saying magic is real. It is not fanciful. It is not supernatural. It is totally rooted in natural and universal laws. Okay? No magic that violates the laws of the universe or the laws of nature is going to have a good success rate. So when someone asked about turning somebody into a frog, unfortunately, that does violate the laws of nature, right? The laws of nature do not allow for a human form to overnight or instantaneously become amphibian form. Frogs are amphibians, right? Universal law is just like the laws of nature, except rather than being rooted in our physical earth, it is rooted in the universe in general. So the laws of nature only apply to this earth. It's good though. It's a good one. It's a useful example. The laws of nature only apply to this earth, right? Because only this earth has this nature. Other planets have their own nature that don't necessarily have the laws that we have here about water and fire and all of that, gravity and stuff like that. But the laws of nature apply to this earth. The law of the universe apply to this earth and everything. So if you understand the laws of the universe and you understand laws of nature like physics, like gravity, and you create spells that do not violate them, but use those laws to your benefit, your success rate shoots up like crazy. If you try to do things that violate the law of nature, you do not have a good chance of having success. But when we don't know what the laws of the universe or the laws of nature are, we may not realize that. And we might follow spells or write spells that violate those laws, and then they don't work, and we don't know why. And 9 times out of 10, when someone comes to me and says, I tried this spell and it didn't work, I ask them to go through the steps. What were the ingredients? What was the intention? What were we trying to do? And 9 times out of 10, there is some law of the universe or some law of nature that was violated. Every once in a while, something that truly violates the laws of nature and the universe will happen. And when they do, that is what we call a miracle. That is something that even a magician really can't take credit for. Miracles do happen, but they come from a place that at this point in my craft, I do not understand and I cannot explain. How to make a miracle happen, I don't know. But how to cast magic, that I know. And by applying the laws of the universe and the law of nature to your intention, you have a really great chance of seeing the results that you are trying to create. And if you are not having success, look for the laws of the universe or the laws of nature that may be violated by the spell or practice that you tried. How do we get to know the laws of the universe? The first one is the easiest. Read or study the Kabbalion. Like I said, it's a very short read. It is something you can dive really deep into, but to actually get through it shouldn't take you very long, maybe an hour. Someone mentioned listening to it. Nisi mentioned listening to it on YouTube. Nowadays, you don't have to read something. You can get an audio file. You can listen to somebody read it on YouTube or watch somebody give a lecture on the principles, etc. But get familiar with the laws of the universe and what they mean. Another action step that you can take is to look for the laws in real life because they show up all over the place. The law of correspondence is one of my favorites. I love thinking about how the central vein and the offshoots of a leaf are incredibly similar to the central vein and the capillaries in the blood system of the human body. Okay. So look for those laws once you read them and understand them. Look for how they show up in our everyday life. And then practice using them. Write spells and actually apply 2 or 3 of the laws of the universe to the spell. Incorporate those laws into the way that you craft your spell or write your spell and apply the laws as a test to make sure that there's no violation of the law. And practice creating magic with the laws in mind. It does. June mentioned that magic feels miraculous a lot of the times, and I agree. Sometimes it surprises people, like when I do, this isn't related to spell casting, but when I do tarot readings, and people come to me and they're like, that was exactly right, this, da, da, da. I'm usually like, really? And they're like, yeah, don't you expect that? You do this. And I'm like, this shit is surprising to me too. It's amazing. How did I know that? I don't know. I mean, I know, but like, it's still kind of cool. Next area of concentration, scribe of the soul. Scribe of the soul. Can I just stop for a moment to say that I am exhausted? It is 11 o'clock at night, and I am so glad that I'm here with you guys. Can I just say I am really having a good time? I just want to throw that out there. Because I just had a moment where I was like, man, I'm tired. And I was like, I am really enjoying this. I am glad that I am here. Thank you all for being here. Scribe of the soul. By this, I mean magical journaling. This is so important. So important. Don't make the mistake that I made. I went the first maybe 15 to 18 years of my magical practice not journaling and not journaling properly. And I regret it. I really wish I had a record of what I had been doing up until that point. One, because if I did, I would have been able to speed things up for myself, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But also just so that I can see my progress and growth. Okay? So journaling your process is everything. Journey says, my biggest challenge. I'm so glad that you said that, Journey, because I can totally understand why journaling would be a challenge for people. Now, I grew up being a diary keeper. I've kept a diary my whole life, and I still have all of them, which is pretty incredible. I've always been a diary keeper. You would think as somebody who kept a diary anyway and was already in the habit of like writing in her journal at night, that keeping a magical journal would have come to me very intuitively, but it didn't. And here's the reason why. And I blame all these damn witchcraft books that I was reading instead of really focusing on my practice. I was reading about it because they had me under the impression that in order to journal about my magic, I needed to create a book of shadows or a grimoire, which should not have been my focus. Because by being focused on trying to create the most accurate, thorough, big book of spells ever, I never bothered to write down what I was actually doing with my everyday. And that was a mistake. I made a video about this on my YouTube channel if you want to hear me kind of really go into why this was a mistake for me. But I grew up watching shows like Charmed, where when something happened, the witches had a big old beautiful book of shadows that they could just flip to and say, ah, yes, there's the recipe, and run off and go and make it. And I wanted to have that. And I thought that keeping a magical journal meant creating something like that. So I printed stuff off the internet and I copied stuff out of books and I got all the charts and the guides and the this and the that. And the thing was this big and it was a big old book of nothing. Nothing. Nothingness. First of all, I would forget what was in it half the time because there was so much shit in it. But even the things that I remembered what were in there didn't matter to me because these were other people's words and other people's ideas and they meant nothing to me. So keeping a journal is important for record keeping, for self-exploration, for progress tracking. But when I say magical journaling, I am talking about a book of mirrors, not a book of shadows or a grimoire. Okay? So journaling is helpful because obviously you're keeping a record of what you're doing. What was that plant that I put in there? Okay? So you can go back and replicate things. And for those of you who are academics, you know that an experiment is not an experiment unless it can be replicated, right? So keeping a record of what you did allows you to do it again and see if you get the same results. Magical record keeping journaling is important for self-exploration because it's going to help you to get to know yourself as a practitioner, which, as I said at the start of everything, is the most important thing. And it's going to help you to track your progress. You're going to be able to see how far along you have come. But not all types of magical journaling are made equal. A book of mirrors is far more helpful than a book of shadows, which is far more helpful than a grimoire in terms of writing one, keeping one. If you're not familiar with these terms, a book of mirrors is a fancy way of saying a diary. This is a diary. It is a place where you write literally what is happening. It is not where you write the spell, when am I going to do it? What ingredients do I need? What time of day? What are the words I'm going to say? No, it's none of that. It's today, I was walking down the street and I didn't feel safe. So I said a little prayer of protection and I immediately felt better. Okay? It is today, it was raining and I put a bowl outside and collected some rainwater. And I don't know what to do with it because I've never made a spiritual bath before, but something just told me to collect it. So I did. Today is August 30th. Right? That's what a book of mirrors is. It is literally a diary. It is every time something witchy happens to you, even if it does not feel super magical and amazing, this is just where we're just writing this stuff down and keeping a record of what's happening to us. Okay? And yes, someone is commenting about being disciplined. I want you to take that pressure off of yourself. Take that pressure off of yourself to be disciplined about writing in your journal. This is not a homework assignment in that sense. Write in your journal when something magical, spiritual, witchy of any kind happens. I went to a witchy store today and I bought a crystal. I found out about a festival happening in the town next door. I got a ticket. I'm going to go. It can be 2 lines, 1 line. It could be a flower. It doesn't even have to be words. You don't have to write anything. Maybe you were in the park and something spoke to you and said, take this flower. So take it and go press it into your journal. Right? Maybe you have a tarot card deck and one card got bent and now you can't really use it. But something feels very interesting about it being this particular card. You don't really know why yet, but it feels significant. Take the card into your book. Okay? And these things might happen every day, or maybe they happen once a week, or maybe they happen here and there. But as you just get used to recording the witchy things that are happening in your life, the more you witch, the more there'll be to record. Your book of mirrors is where you will talk about or write about or take pictures or scrapbook or whatever. You will record what you are doing in your life, which in your magical life, which over time will just become in your life. And there's no discipline necessary. If you're witching every day and you've gotten into the habit of writing about it, guess what? You'll be journaling every day. So the two will grow together rather than putting pressure on yourself. And I'm definitely talking too much about this, but I get fired up about the journaling because it is very helpful. A Book of Shadows, on the other hand, is kind of a mix between the Book of Mirrors and a grimoire. It is a magical journal that includes recipes. It includes notes about things that you have done and stuff like that. And then a grimoire is really a textbook. It is a magical textbook. And when we buy these magical books, that's usually what they are. They are a collection of astrological charts and correspondences and spell instructions and things like that. Don't try to make a grimoire. Maybe one day you'll go back through all of your Book of Mirrors and all of your Book of Shadows, and you'll make a grimoire for yourself, for your next generation, for your friends, for your coven, etc. But if you start there, like I did, you'll get stuck and you'll be recording things that don't mean anything. Once you get comfortable with your Book of Mirrors, you can go ahead and add a Book of Shadows into the mix. And the Book of Shadows, the rule that I want you to apply, and I think it's very useful because I stole this from Antonio Pagliarulo in his book, The Evil Eye, I believe. He said, in your Book of Shadows, only record the spells that you have done so many times that you can do them by heart. And you can write them down in the book by heart. Okay? Yes, the grimoire is primarily technical information. There may be some reflections in it, but it's for the purpose of guiding somebody through their craft, which you are not doing yet. You are developing your craft. When you write in the Book of Mirrors, right, you're going to maybe take a spiritual bath, right? And you're going to write about it. Or maybe you just get the ingredients for it. And then next time you actually make one. And then maybe 3 months later, you take another one and you use the same ingredients. And then maybe you realize you really like this cleansing bath and now you're going to do it regularly. And now that you've done it a few times and you've written it down a few times in your Book of Mirrors, now you probably can make that bath or write down the steps and the ingredients of that bath off the top of your head. Now that is what goes into your Book of Shadows. This is my recipe and my instructions for a cleansing bath. But your Book of Mirrors shows you how you got there. Okay? Your Book of Mirrors shows you how you got there. And when you settle on something that you're like, all right, this is my go-to cleansing bath, now it goes into the Book of Shadows. Okay? And then maybe one day you take your Book of Shadows, you really clean it up for other people to use or to be a guide or what have you. You get rid of all the cross-outs and the scratches and all of that, and you make something that can be used as a textbook of sorts. But we don't start there. Start with the Book of Mirrors. So what are some action steps to keeping a magical journal? First of all, we're going to need to get one. So you're going to need to create or obtain a Book of Mirrors. You can make one for yourself, which I think is amazing. You can buy one, of course. The journals all over the place. You've got journals in the shop of different kinds. You can use an electronic journal. You can use the note tab in your, the notes app in your phone. But in some way, you're going to want to designate a space as your Book of Mirrors, a place for you to write down what's happening in your life that's witchy. Okay? And you're going to journal after every witchy thing as best you can. Maybe it's 2 days later, but at some point, write it down. You can also use this space for recording your dreams and things like that. And so your journal, your dream journal, and your Book of Mirrors can be one. So you don't have 11 journals everywhere. Because having a dream, that's witchy. Write about it. Same book. And another action step that you can use to transform your magical journal keeping is to review your journal every 6 months, because that's something that we often neglect to do. We might record what we are doing, but I think it's important a couple times a year to stop, have a moment of pause, and go back and read everything over the last 6 months, even if it's just 3 or 4 entries. But what has happened to you in your witchy life? How have you grown? What has changed? What have you learned? This is going to help you to develop as a practitioner and just get better at journal keeping to begin with. Yeah, Lauren Burke has a great tip about choosing the book, which is to get a crappy one. Don't necessarily get the most beautiful, perfect book because you might not feel comfortable just writing whatever, throwing stuff in it, taping an old, concert ticket inside or what have you. Maybe just a marble composition notebook or a spiral notebook from Staples. Plenty of time to get fancy. And the 10th step that we're going to talk about is circles of belonging. Community. Community is important. It is so, so, so important to transforming yourself as a person and specifically as a witch. As a person, loneliness literally kills people. And I do not say that hyperbolically. People out here pass on either at their own hand or by what seems like some inexplicable shift in nature. How many times have we heard about the elderly couple that's been together for 60, 70 years, where one passes away and then the other one, with seemingly no health problems whatsoever, a month later also goes? And people say they die of a broken heart. It's the loneliness. Loneliness fosters desperation and despair. It makes us feel like we have to bear the weight of everything that's happening in our lives and the world by ourselves, and that's not true. So by finding community, fostering community, you help to prevent desperation and despair from taking you over, literally. Now, as a witch, community is important because of a number of reasons. One of them is the joy. The joy is the opposite of the desperation and the despair. It fosters joy within the witch, which is reaffirming. It gives you that oomph that you need to overcome all of those post-it notes and continue to tap into who you are and yourself. I'm very grateful for all of you because you guys bring me joy. And it reaffirms that I am not alone in this world. That whatever it is that I am going through, while, yeah, I may have to be the person who has to actually do the work to deal with it, I don't have to do it in isolation. When I need that pep talk, when I need to be encouraged, when I need to get that oomph to keep going, I have people there who can do that for me. Community is also important to the witch for some practical reasons. Yeah, it's 2023. Yeah, there's such a thing as witch talk, which I can't even believe. Okay, when I came into this life in the late 90s, witches were putting false ads in the yellow pages about their stores, so you didn't know what they were doing in there. Plant shops and, uh, uh, what you call it, little like home decor spots and things like that, that really, at the end of the day, were whole ass witchy shops. Bookstores, right? You'd get inside and you'd be like, wait a minute. Okay. So now we live in a world of witch talk where seemingly you can be a witch anywhere. And I can tell you right now from experience, sitting here in New York City, okay? The place where I always tell people you can walk down the street in New York City in a big bird costume. And you know why New York is special? Because guess what? You can walk down the streets in a big bird costume in other places too. But why New York is special is because not only are half the people who see you not going to say a damn thing, the other half are not even going to see you. If you've never been to New York, it's crazy what it's like to be anonymous, surrounded by millions of people. You would think in a place like New York, you could be anything and have no problems. And I can tell you firsthand, as a shop with the word witch and the types of reactions that we get from people, everything from vandalism to hate phone calls, to people coming in and complaining to the building about our existence. I can tell you that even in what many would consider the most accepting place in the world, it is a big red target on my back to walk around calling myself a witch. And I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have other witches with me to help me overcome that fear of putting myself out there and being big and bold and strong in my identity and my chosen way of life. So having community is important, because when you get to the point where you don't want to hide that you are a witch anymore, not everybody is going to like it. And having other witches is going to make it a little easier to get through that. Okay? So how do we foster and create community? Building pagan communities, we have action steps for this, of course. The first thing that you can do is find organizations that have open rituals and festivals. Things like Witches Fest and Pagan Pride. And sometimes you have to look a little closely, because maybe if you live in a part of the country where, having a Witches Fest is not something that people can even consider doing, you might look for the Solstice Fair, right? Or even the Farmer's Market, or the Powwow, the Healing Circle, the Drum Celebration, right? Sometimes we just have to talk in code. So if you're just Googling where are the witches near me in a place where it's not super friendly to witches and pagans, then you might not have success. So get creative and start going to festivals that are centered around the wheel of the year, connecting with nature, healing with energy. Go to your local holistic spa. Go to your local bookstore, see who's in the New Age section, and look for environments that are witch friendly, and you will find the witches there. You will build community. And of course, we have access to the internet, and we should take advantage of it. So you can also find virtual spaces where you can openly claim your identity. That is the whole point of having the Coven community, which is our private membership group inside of the HQ online portal. The whole point, the tagline of it is a community of solitary witches. It is a virtual space specifically designed for solitary witches to share themselves and openly say, I'm a witch. Let me post about it today. Let me comment on the posts of other witches and see if they might want to chat with me. And then I want you to get involved in those spaces. Okay, because a lot of times we get stuck in the voyeur mindset. Sometimes we get stuck in the consumer mindset, meaning you might be going to festivals and fairs. You might be a part of the Coven community or some other virtual space, and you either just are a voyeur, you just go and you look and you look and you look and you just be watching, or you might be the consumer, where you go to the festivals and you buy 11 things, but you don't talk to a single other person. You leave with all the candles and all the crystals and all the beaded jewelry and all the handmade soaps, but not a single friend. I want you to get beyond being a voyeur and a consumer in these spaces and get involved. The next time that you go to a festival, I want you to find the booth that has the organizers. At every festival, there's always a spot where the people who are hosting are posted up. They might be at the front taking tickets, or they might have their informational booth set up. I want you to find those people, and I want you to say, hi, my name is Allie. I wanted to know whether or not you take volunteers, because I'd really love to help you with this event next year. Okay? If you're in a virtual space, instead of just scrolling through and reading what other people say, pop in and say, hi, my name is Allie. I don't really have anything to contribute. I just wanted to say, hey, I'm here. I live in so-and-so. you ever wanted to go to the witchy shops together, I'm down. Hit me up. Okay. Don't just go and be a voyeur. Don't just go and be a consumer. Get involved in these spaces. The next time you go to a festival or a fair, I want you, instead of leaving with a lot of items, I want you to leave with connections with people. You don't have to give anybody your phone name. Just swap that Instagram handle, right? It's a nice, easy way to like connect with someone without it being too much, right? Oh, what's your IG? Okay, got you. Oh, you're on TikTok? All right, I'll follow you there. Okay. You don't have to be besties by the end of the festival, but I want you to have more names in your pocket than stuff. Okay. All right. Mercury retrograde has 2 pictures of our seasonal meal. That is not what this picture is supposed to be. But I'll leave it on the screen. Okay. The slide presentation is doing what it wants. I'll leave it on the screen in case anybody is hungry. One of you made that come back up. Who said it looked good? That I blame you. It's your fault. This is the part where I tell you how you take these action steps and apply it. Okay. Oh, we are not done. Yes, a little bit more I want to share with you. Thank you very much, June. Now that we've talked about the 10 areas of your craft and we've given some action steps that you can take, there's 2 ways that you can go about incorporating this over the next 6 months to transform yourself and your practice. On the one hand, you can do it independently. If you decide to do it independently, I want you to take each of the 10 steps. You don't have to do it in the order I did, but it might be helpful to at least start with self-realization first and end with developing community. But I want you to take each of the 10 steps and 10 areas and one of the action steps from each of those areas. And I want you to spend 2 to 3 weeks just working on that. Right? So if we are talking about connecting to self and you feel like meditation is useful, I want you to take 2 weeks to 3 weeks to meditate daily. All right. If you are working on the magical journaling part of your craft and you want to explore those action steps, I want you to journal every day for 2 to 3 weeks. If you take one area of concentration and focus on it for 2 to 3 weeks, between 22 and 26 weeks from now, you will transform your practice, you will transform yourself. That's one way to do it. Doing it that way requires independent study, and it requires somebody who really thrives in an environment where they didn't need a lot of direction. Many of us are a part of this modern world, and we may have had like college classes that are online versus in-person classes. That sucked for me. Okay? Sucked for me because I never did it. I never tuned in. I never did the homework because there was no one there to hold me accountable. When I have a real class to go to, there's a teacher expecting me to show up. I have classmates that I don't want looking at me kind of crazy. I would show up to class and I would kill it. And I'd be there all semester. As soon as the college would be like, oh, you can take this class online, I get a D. Because that for me is not helpful. I'm not really a great independent learner. I do better in a classroom where I have to show up with my notes at a certain time. I have homework to do. I have tasks that keep me on track. I'm that kind of learner. Okay? If you're the type of person that thrives in an online class, you don't need somebody to tell you to sit down at a certain time of day or spend an hour on your work, and you can do it for yourself, then I want you to take the 10 areas of concentration, pick an action step or 2, spend 2 to 3 weeks on it, and then holla at me in 6 months and tell me how it went. For everybody else who is like me and does not thrive in independent learning environments because you tend to just stick around, procrastinate, and never actually get it done, then you would do well in more of a formal class environment where you have an experienced teacher to guide you, you have classmates to hold you accountable, you have homework assignments, reading materials, and a timeline that you need to comply with. For those people, I invite you to join the BetterWitch Magic Intensive, which is my 6-month coaching program. Okay? This coaching program is going to take us from September into mid to late January. We are going to spend 6 months together. We are going to have classes as a group. We are going to have individual one-on-one sessions with me. I am only going to be taking 10 witches into this program because we are going to be one-on-one with each other and working in this intimate space. I want everybody to have as much time as they need to ask questions, to explore their own personal crafts. I also want people to feel comfortable in our group sessions to share their altar or a spell that they're working on. And we don't need 11 people in the room when we're trying to share intimate parts of our spiritual craft. 10 other witches that we know are of the similar mindset feels good to me. So I'm only opening this program up to 10 witches. As of right now, because I couldn't help myself and I've been talking about this program for the last couple of weeks on my lives, 2 of the 10 spots have already been claimed. Okay? So as of right now, August 30th, 11:30 p.m., we have 8 spots left in the program. Okay? We get started on September 13th at 7 p.m. Just like this webinar, you will be able to come in late if you need to. You will also be able to watch the replay if you're not able to catch it. And then you will have 2 weeks to complete your quizzes and your homework assignments and have your one-on-one session with me. And then we meet again 2 weeks later to move on to the next module. Registration is open now. It has already been open for the last 2 weeks, which is why 2 spots have already been taken up. It is open now. You can find out more at BronxWitch.com/coaching. Okay. Now, I told you guys about a giveaway and I told you about a special offer. So before I choose the winners of the giveaway, I want to talk to you about our curriculum and the special offer that I have for you. So, to recap, we're going to have 22 weeks of live group sessions. All right. The program will take you anywhere between 22 and 26 weeks. I am going to be keeping you on track and keeping you on pace, but I also understand that things happen. This program is going to overlap with the holidays. Folks might be traveling. Some of us have children. We might have, college classes and exams and things like that. So ideally, you are going to be able to accomplish and complete your homework and your quizzes and your one-on-one session within 2 weeks and be ready for class. But something might happen and you might not be ready for class. You might need a week extension. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to work with you, but I'm not going to let you slack off. And I'm not going to let you dick around and then a month later be like, oh yeah, I'm in this coaching program. No, that's not going to happen. Okay, so if you need a little extra time along the way, it might take you 26 weeks. If you stay on top of everything, 22 weeks, we're going to be done. All right, so we're going to have a live 2-hour group session every 2 weeks on Wednesday at 7 p.m. starting at September 13th. In between our group classes, you are going to each have a one-on-one private session with me where we will explore either the topic of the module. Maybe you need some help with your quiz or with your homework. Maybe you have something you want to talk about in your personal life that's related to that. Maybe you have something completely unrelated that you just want to pick a witch's brain about. Those coaching sessions are going to be, in large part, driven by what it is you need from me. As I said, there will be quizzes, homework assignments, and reading materials for you to get done in between our group sessions. You are also going to receive the Magic Intensive Kit, which I'm very, very happy that I put together. When I put it together, I was like, oh my God, she's so cute. This, like, I wish, why can't somebody send me this? I want this. That's why I'm here. Okay. So the Magic Intensive Kit, this is a picture of it on the previous slide, is going to include an astrological calendar. Okay. It is going to include a planner specifically from the company Ritual. I love their tarot planners. So you are going to get a Ritual tarot planner to help you with tracking your divination practice. And you're going to have assignments related to writing in that planner. You are going to receive a book of shadows, or a book of mirrors, excuse me. You are going to receive a beautiful 100% goat's leather journal that I'm going to choose for each person. Okay, each cover has a different style, has a different design, and I'm going to intuitively choose it for you. But it's going to be about a 6-inch by 8-inch journal with a couple hundred pages in it, plenty of space for you to use as your journal in the class. If you would like to use it for taking notes, that's a great way to use it because you're journaling everything witchy, right? What's more witchy than taking witchy classes with a witch? So you can use that as your notebook. You're going to receive a crystal pendulum, and spoiler alert, it's going to be amethyst because duh, if you don't know about me and the color purple by now, you haven't been around for long enough. You are going to get a crystal pendulum. It is going to be amethyst. But I wanted to make sure to give you a divination tool, and tarot is played out, and not everybody feels called to it, right? So I wanted to pick a device that you maybe haven't spent that much time with, so that we can really not be obsessed with learning meanings and things like that, but talking about and learning about what divination really is and how we do it with any tool. So you're going to get a pendulum. Also included in the kit are 2 very important sacred texts. We talked a lot about the Kabbalion, so you're going to get a beautiful copy of the Kabbalion. You're also going to get a copy of the Book of Pagan Prayer. And this is really important because I want you to have certain prayers, incantations, words that you use all the time. Remember what I said, or what I copied from Antonio, about doing something over and over so that you now know it by heart? Rather than looking up words to say every time you do something new, I want you to have a prayer for healing. I want you to have a prayer for calling in money. I want you to have a prayer for honoring the ancestors, and use that same one over and over. And this book, I think, is one of the best because it is written from a pagan perspective, meaning that it is not rooted in any religion or any tradition. Okay, so when I say prayer and you think Jesus, put that out of your mind. We're going to be engaging in pagan prayers, which are non denominational. Okay, so these are the tools that I felt like would really support you in this program, and you're going to get this kit mailed directly to you from me for free. It comes with the coaching program. Okay, the sooner you enroll in the program, the sooner the kit will be sent out to you. Now, listen, I do not control USPS, I'm going to tell you right now. And now that UPS done raised their prices, half of USPS's employees have quit, and now they work for UPS. So USPS is struggling right now, and I've been having some serious delays with them, not to mention Mercury's and reggaeton. Okay, so please, if you do not get it by September 13th, don't be looking at me crazy. I gave you the heads up about it, but I'm going to get it to you. Okay? And the sooner you sign up, the sooner the process of me putting it together, packing it up, and getting it out to you is. I've already had folks ask me, will I ship this internationally? Yes, I will. My shop ships to the US, the UK, and Canada, but this is not happening through my shop. This is Alysha Kravetz over here. Okay, so I will ship this to you wherever you are in the world. All right, whatever the cost of the shipping, I got you. Okay, I got you. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, just make sure you enter in your shipping address correctly. All right, now that kit by itself is a $200 value. Something I forgot to list here in the curriculum, which is super important, is that you are going to be getting about $900 worth of discounts and referrals from me because I got witchy friends. Hello. I got witchy friends, okay? And what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that you also got the expertise of other witches. So you are going to get discounted astrological readings. You are going to get healing sessions, discounts and codes to use for classes and things like that, products and materials that the witches that I know make. When you add it all up together, if you got all of the things, you're going to get about $900 of savings just in the discounts and things that I'm going to be sharing with you in each of our classes. Okay. And I didn't even put that on the list. Laurenberg asked, if we're local to you, can we pick it up at the store? Yeah, we can definitely arrange that for sure. When it is time for you to fill out the paperwork for placing your order for the kit, which should be ready in the next couple of days, you can put that in there and we can work something out. Okay, I can definitely do that for you. But the shipping is included in your price. So, you know, I'm an addict of convenience. If you could ship it to me, honey, listen, I was never designed to be a witch in like 1623. Go get my own water. I'm sorry. What? Even if I never knew anything about the future, there would be a part of me that would know something about that was just not right. No, 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 no. So if it were me, I'd be like, yeah, ship that. Yeah, I live down the street. I know. Ship it anyway. But that's just me. If you really want to come to the shop and pick it up, yeah, we can work that out. Okay. We could definitely work that out. But for your convenience, it doesn't matter whether you live down the block or on the other side of the globe, I will get the kit to you. All right. Now, if you add up all of the hours that I am going to spend with you in our coaching sessions, if you add up all of the hours that I am going to spend with you in our one-on-ones, if you add up all of the quizzes, homework assignments, and reading materials I have created, if you add up the value of the Magic Intensive Kit, which is about $200, if you add up the $900 in discounts and referrals that you are going to get, this would all come up to $6,570. Okay? If we took the full value of everything and just add it all up, that's what it comes out to. $6,570 for 6 months of my time and all of this value, not to mention the transformation that you are going to experience. That's a lot of doll hairs. It sure is. That is a lot of doll hairs. You are absolutely right about that. But what did I tell you? I told you that I had something special for you guys, okay? You are not going to pay $6,570 for this 6-month coaching intensive, okay? I got y'all. Are you ready to see what you guys are being offered today? Can I get an emoji? Can I get a hand? Who is ready to see what this program is going to be offered to you guys for? And again, this offer will expire on Monday. I think it's September 4th is the date, or maybe the 5th. Let's say the 5th. Let's say Tuesday, like midnight. Okay, so you have all day on the holiday if you want to take time to think about it, okay? Okay, Linda said for sure. Okay, I got a fingers crossed. I got a heart. I heard a yes. Okay, now. Yes, Janae said, you worth it, sis, but I just felt my wallet cry. I completely understand. Yes, absolutely. That's why I got something special for you. I just want to make sure you guys are ready for it. Sabrina's a thumbs up. Armali's giving me crystal balls. A yes from Shamira. Laurenberg's peeking. She wants to know. She wants to know. The suspense is building. Okay. Keep in mind all of the value that is packed into this program. Okay. All right. I'm ready. You ready? I'm ready. Today and until the end of Monday, the cost to you is only $1,667. Can I get an amen? Amen. Woo! Okay. Okay. Come on now. Talk about a discount. Did I hook it up or what? Did I hook it up or what? Okay. I don't know what it was, the numerology of it. Literally, it was like I woke up, I'm thinking about the program, I'm working on it, I'm looking at all this value I'm packing into it. And I'm like, listen, I know that this is what this program is worth. I know that this is what my time, my value that I've packed into here, all these products, all these discounts, all of these referrals, all this guidance. I know that this is what it's worth. But I also know that my people got other things going on in their lives that are also valuable. They have children, they have bills, they have homes. What can I do? What feels right in my soul? And it was like it hit me out of just thin air, 1667. I don't know if this was the year that I was like burnt on the stake as a witch or what it was, but 1667 just hit me. Okay. And I was like, okay, all right, that feels a little low. I'm gonna be honest with you, but that's what Spirit said, and I am obedient. So Spirit said we're shaving off almost $5,000, and we're going with 1667. Okay, and it's a number to meditate on. I like that. I like that. I like that because the full value is a number that for you at top, you wouldn't even meditate on that number, right? It just immediately was something that you were like, I can't do that. But now we're talking about a value that you might actually be able to manifest for yourself, that you actually might be able to wrap your head around. Okay. Thank you, Regina. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, I also wanted to make it even easier for you guys. Okay. I wanted to really make sure that I make this as accessible for my witches as I possibly can. So not only am I dropping the price down so much, but I also have a very special offer that also will expire on Monday. Okay. From now until midnight on Monday, you can also break this down into 3 monthly payments. Okay? You can break this down into 3 monthly payments. You do not have to pay for the entire program all up front. When you go to the enrollment page, you are going to see a little drop down where you can choose either to pay for the price outright, because maybe you already know that works for you. Or if you're like me, I don't like breaking things down into monthly payments because then I forget about it. And then next month you're talking about, oh, this is due. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd rather just do it all at once so I can just be like done with it. That's me. If it makes it better for you, from now until the end of Monday, you have 3 monthly payments, which means you can enroll in the program for $555.66. Okay, that's all you need to get enrolled in the program. And then you are fully in the program. You are going to get your kit put in the mail. You are going to get your course syllabus. You are going to get the link to tune in to your first live class. You are going to get the link to sign up for your first coaching sessions. You are going to get your deals and your discounts. You're going to get your quizzes and your homework at the end of class on September 13th. So you are going to be fully enrolled in the class, ready to start with us on September 13th at 7 o'clock for just $555.66. And then you'll have a whole 30 days before your next payment will be due. Not only does this make it a lot easier for you to enroll now, but it will also give you the opportunity to see if this is really for you. I know that you're going to love it, and I know that you're going to want to stick around, but sometimes shit happens in life, and you might not be able to move on past the first 30 days. In which case, before that second payment comes due, cancel, you drop out of the program. The first payment of $555.66 is non-refundable. Obviously, you will have already had 2 classes at that point. You will have already had private coaching sessions. You will have already received deals and discounts. You will have already received your intensive kit, which is already $200 worth of that $555. So that part is non-refundable, but you will no longer be responsible for the next 2 payments. Or let's say you get through the first 2 payments and decide that you want to go a different way. You will no longer be responsible for that 3rd payment. Okay? But by the first 3 months of the program, you will be all paid in full. You won't have to worry about payments anymore, and you'll be able to enjoy the remaining 3 to 4 months of class time with me. Now, this offer expires on Monday night at midnight. Monday is a holiday. A lot of folks might be off. I felt like this was a good time to give you like a long weekend to think about it. I don't want you to think too long, because the longer you wait, the higher the chances are that the program fills up. Because remember, I'm only taking 10 witches and 2 spots have already been secured. So there's only 8 spots left. There's 26 of you in here. 70 people registered for this website. So potentially between now and Monday, like 50 more people are going to watch this and get this same offer. So I don't want you to wait too long. Also, keep in mind your intensive kit is going to be sent out after you have completed all of your onboarding paperwork and stuff like that. So the sooner you do that, the sooner you will get your kit. You do not need to have your kit in time for the first class, but you might like to have it sooner rather than later. So keep that in mind. Only 8 spots left. Keep that in mind, but you do have until the end of Monday to consider this, and you have this, not only this very low price, but this 3-month payment plan to make it even easier to sign up. Journey said, "Oh my God, come on, you just killed it." Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of gratefuls and a lot of thumbs up and thank yous. Thank you guys. Honestly, thank you guys. You're the only reason why this is being created. I've already done this, right? Sadly, I did it in 25 years. You guys are going to do it in 6 months, but I've already done this. You are the reason why this program has been created. So thank you for being here. Again, you can register at BronxWitch.com/coaching, or I'm going to go right ahead and drop the link directly to the class in the chat for you, just to make it easier. Let's see, where is that? Here we go. All right. I just dropped the link right in the chat. Okay, I'm going to pop it up on the screen in case you want to copy it down or anything like that. Yeah, exactly, Betty. That's what I said. Midnight, Monday night is going to be technically Tuesday, September 5th, right? So I'm giving you till Monday night at midnight. So that's September 5th. Monday is the holiday, the 4th. And when the clock strikes 12 and it becomes Tuesday the 5th, the offer expires. Okay, let me know if that makes sense. No worries, my love. All right. It's giveaway time. It's giveaway time. Okay. Which is perfect. We are going to be ending at midnight tonight, which is fantastic. Okay. Let me see something. I wonder if, let me try something. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Look at that. All right. Check that out. Ooh, fancy. I like Stream Webinar. Okay. So I went ahead and logged in. I went ahead and went to the site to enroll in the class because I wanted to show you guys right here in that middle bar where it says 1667. If you see that little arrow, that's where you're going to click in order to choose the 3-month payment plan. Okay. After Monday at midnight, that little arrow is going to go away. And it is just going to be one flat price of $6,570. Okay, up until Monday night, it's going to be $1,667, and you are going to see the drop-down window that gives you the 3-month payment plan. So if you're looking through the page and you're like, where in the world is this? That is where it is, okay? I don't know if it lets you see me moving on the screen. This is the class homepage, And when you click on this button, you're going to see the option of 3 payments of $555.66. You're going to click on that and click pre-order now, and that is going to take you into the payment screen to sign up. And as you can see, you will only need to make your first payment of $555.66. Okay? You have the option of paying with a card or with Cash App Pay. Okay? So that's what you are looking for. All right? Make sure you drop, if you want to take advantage of the 3-month payment plan, which you don't have to, definitely make sure that you click on the drop down so it gives you that option. All right? Now, before the clock strikes 12 and we all turn back into pumpkins and mice and all of that good stuff, I want to choose my 3 special winners. Oh, yes. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to go back through the comments when everyone was entering by putting in their name and initial and how long they have been in the craft. And I'm going to step away. Okay. I'm going to take myself off the screen. I'm going to let Spirit guide me here to choose 3 witches to receive a free 1-hour coaching session with me. That coaching session is going to happen between now and Monday. That way you can decide after the coaching session if you would like to enroll in the full program. Okay? For everybody else who does not get chosen, I definitely encourage you to enroll before Monday and grab one of those 8 spots that are left. Okay? Drum roll, that's right. Okay, give me about 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go through everybody's submissions and let Spirit guide me into making the right choice here, okay? All right. All right. Good night, Sabrina. All right, guys. Well, my lovely, lovely witches, I have my 3 witches that are going to be joining me, or so I thought. First of all, first and foremost, I want to give honor and thanks to the beautiful goddess, Saraswati, who I asked to be with me and to guide me in making this choice. Okay, this divine being. She is known for many things. She is a goddess of all of the arts, of knowledge of the universe, of writing, of reading, of studying. And she's been somebody that I've been calling on, connecting to this whole process. And I asked her to be with me to make this choice. And she threw me for a loop because I thought I was choosing 3 witches. But she said, no, 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 we're choosing 4. So we have 4 witches that are going to get a free one-on-one coaching session with me. The way this is going to work is the witches that have been chosen, you are going to get an email from me in the next 24 hours from the same email address that sent you the link today. So that is BronxWitch@mynorby.com. And in it is going to be a scheduling link that is going to ask you for your information. It's going to ask you to pick a time, and it's going to ask you to give me some information about what you want to cover in your coaching session so that I can prepare for you, and your session can be very specific to you and where you are in your practice. All of you will be meeting with me sometime between when you get that email and Monday, so that you can, if you want to wait to decide if you want to enroll in the full course, you can wait until after that coaching session. Please keep in mind, I cannot hold any spaces in, okay? So I cannot guarantee that all 8 spots will be available, or that any spots left will be available by the time you have your coaching session. So that's, kind of a chance that you take. If you don't want to take the chance, just go ahead and enroll right now. But if you want to wait, this is one of the benefits of getting to have the coaching session. You sort of get a sneak peek at what it will be like to work with me one-on-one. I thought I was picking 3. Saraswati said 4. So my 4 witches, I have Shamira D. You are the first witch. Congratulations, Shamira D. We have Alton J. Alton, Alton J. You are my second witch. We have Journey D. Journey, you are my third witch. You just threw up a honey pot and a beehive. Bee, I think it worked, baby. Journey D. And my 4th witch, Saraswati was like, put them in there, put them in there. Armali R. If you're still in the room, Armali R. You 4 witches have just received a free one-on-one coaching session with me. You are going to be able to book that session between now and Monday. You will receive an email in your inbox with a link to schedule your session with me. If any of the 4 of you already know that this coaching program is for you, please do not wait. I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to take the full course. Consider registering now. Take advantage of the 3-month payment plan to make it easier. Okay, but I will be meeting with Shamira D, Alton J, Journey D, and Armali R. Congratulations, witches. I am looking forward to meeting you all and seeing you one-to-one. Everyone else, I want to thank you so, so much for being here. I want to encourage you to go ahead and register for the coaching program. I want to remind you of this exclusive offer for you guys. You have the option to sign up for 3 monthly payment plans rather than paying all at once, which means you can enroll in this program, which is a total value of $6,570 for just $555.66 between now and midnight Monday night. You can get more information at BronxWitch.com/coaching, or use the link that's right up on your screen in the chat. Okay? It's midnight, y'all, for the East Coast witches. Happy full blue moon. Thank you all so much for being here. I want to congratulate every single one of you for taking these 10 steps to becoming a better witch. Whether you enroll in the program or you decide to do this all by yourself, hit me up in 6 months and let me know how it went. Let me know how this webinar was for you today. I would love to get your feedback on how this webinar went today. Just respond to the email that sent you the link, please. Actually, if you could all do that. I know a few folks have already left. There's like 20 of you still in the room. Please go to the email that sent you the link and just hit reply. It'll send it right back to me. I would love to hear from you what you guys thought about this webinar. Was it valuable? Did you learn anything? Are you planning on applying these 10 steps in the next 6 months? Let me know what you think, because that's going to help other people know in the future if I teach this again, whether or not they should take it. And I would love to know what you think. Give me your feedback. If you didn't like it, let me know that too. I really want to know, because we're all becoming better witches, and you guys help me to be better by letting me know what you think. So right now, before you go to bed, before you go get in the shower, whatever you're going to do next, hop into your inbox. You already have the email from me with this link. Just respond right now. Shoot me a quick email. I'll reply right back to you, because I'm going to be reading them right now. So go right ahead and send me a couple of lines. Just let me know what you thought, okay? I know some folks are dropping it down in the chat, but when we close the stream, the chat is going to go away. So please do go to your inbox and just shoot me a quick email. Let me know what you thought. I would really love to hear it, okay? Yes, bell work time for my full moon witches taking advantage. That's right. 6 months. That's all it takes. It took me 25 years, but I got you. All right, guys. Thank you so much, witches. It has been a pleasure and an honor. I'm going to close up with another prayer, just giving honor and thanks to our guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, and spirits. Thank you, Goddess Saraswati, for coming through and selecting those 4 special witches, helping them to further in their path. Thank you for bringing all of these witches to this space. I know that we all got better today. When we know better, we witch better. And I am so grateful to be a part of this community. I want to send everyone off into this evening, this beautiful blue, full super moon evening, with lots of love and light. Until we are together again, blessed be. Blessed be, everybody. Yep, go light those candles. Yes, thank you, Betty. You know what it is. I got to go charge my bath. Thank you all. Blessed be, blessed be. Bye. I'm going to go read your emails first, okay? Go write those emails. Have a great night, everybody. Blessed be.